Alaji, you're live. Go ahead.
Good, thank you. I have noticed, I saw what is happening in respect of Ajao Estate, and I wanted to inform you that the truth of the matter is exactly what the GM has said. A lot of people have already bought that land, and I can assure you they bought that land not even from the Federal Airport Authority. And if you go against the motor road, down, all those lands they have been selling, you understand, they have built so many houses around. And this issue is there almost like 30 years back.
30 years.
And the Federal Airport Authority are talking to them, giving them, notice and so on and so on. But every time they refuse to listen, they refuse to listen. If you remember the crash of
Oh, Alaji, but I'm so sorry. I didn't hear much of what he said.
Yeah, but he was saying what he was saying was that those the land that they've always gotten notices, but that people have been buying land from there 30 years back. So this is that people know that is not.
I live in Magodo, and many people know the issue that happened in Magodo. So because the general manager of FAAN was saying that the houses were marked. Every single house in Magodo is marked as of today.
Yeah,
it's still marked as we speak. So based on what happens in court or the government, whatever, trucks can come in every day and start demolishing. So it's the same thing where you just think that okay, we can still discuss, we are in court, or we are still negotiating, we are still engaging the stakeholders, hoping that one day to be resolved and you still have the property. So it's the same thing. We're now bringing the Nigerian factor because you're saying that there's local government part of it. There's a part of the local government where you notice and observe. That's why we have government at the lowest level. Before that foundation went up, somebody should have observed. There's nothing that's going on within this course of fair, for example, that government shouldn't have a clue of.
I think the Magodo case is different. So there
Don't say that. It's marked.
It's marked, but there are two cases. Here, somebody says this belongs to me. Another person says it belongs to me, and they go to court. That's a different case compared to those areas that government has earmarked to use for certain things like agriculture, pipelines, canal, and all that. Yeah. Those are government-owned areas. And in my understanding of what government's responsibility should be is first to preserve and protect lives and properties. So you, as a government that has that as your number one priority, you cordon those areas off. You have, like Lagos State now has their Lagos State plan of every area covered there. They have a proper blueprint of how they want Lagos to be in the coming years. Hold on first now. In the coming years. So they should liaise with the local government and the state government to cordon off those areas so that those developers will not even go there to buy any of these properties. That is the human face that I think government should have. But you ignore some of these areas. You allow people put up structures for years. You're appealing. We have marked it. We have done this. Nigerians are naturally stubborn. The job of government is to put them right. So put them right. Except, of course, you are benefiting from them, putting up those structures, and then coming back later to demolish it when it no longer serves you. Exactly. So let's call a spade and how things are supposed to be done.
Alaji is back from Abuja. Good morning, Alaji. We didn't hear you properly the first time. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Much better. Go ahead, please.
All right. So what I'm saying that the issue is there for now, and really our people, they don't want to listen at all. They don't want to listen. And if you look at it, this issue, they have been giving them notice. Even from the beginning when they got down, everybody is aware. So we, the land operators, sometimes when you are coming to land labor, you can see how they are coming along, on the top of the roof of the people, of the houses, sorry. When the dialect crashed, it crashed on top of the building, and all those houses are not supposed to be there. Are not supposed to be there. So for people doesn't listen, doesn't understand. So the fund is doing a good job, but I think only thing the Federal Airport Authority needs to do now to give these people some other day. You understand that everybody should appreciate. I think that.
Thank you very much, Alaji.
So this narrative of Nigerians don't listen, Nigerians are stubborn, I get it, but the only reason why they can do that is because we have created a system for them to get away with the stubbornness. If you say to them, bring money and I'll let you do this, or bring money and I can let you circumvent the law, Of course they will do it. So people are not just stubborn onto them. How would I say? They're not just stubborn because it just happens. It's because you have said, for stubborn people, there's a way out for you. And we have created this money channel and we'll collect it from you. Now to the stubborn Nigerians is that in the end, it is 2-0. They will take your money and they will go. If there's a reason why land has been earmarked not to be used, not to be built on, just move away. Just quietly, go and do it somewhere else so that we're not crying over a lot of money that you have invested in your land and then, there's nobody no one will even sympathize with you. The most we can do is say sorry and then that's it.
So every human being is stubborn. There's impunity. If these things would happen, people would engage.
The law checks you.
If the law doesn't check you, people will do what they feel like doing. If I realize that I'm building and nothing is happening, I'll stay there and I'll build. If I can escape, I would always escape. I'm sure that if there's nobody that would give fine, in the US of A, they will follow one way.
Insurrection.
They will follow one way. We saw what happened with the insurrection. So it is the job of the government to create boundaries for your society, to create sanity in the system. And I know my people, my fellow Nigerians and my customers to be, who because of this now will start asking plenty questions. So I want to take the time to educate. Because one of the things that, the reasons people emphasize on buying from a real estate company is because you're expecting them to do the due diligence. My own assignment is to ensure that I do my checks so that I'm not buying a land that has government acquisition. And I have seen families, like the way the family that BC bought from, know that the land is government acquisition, committed government acquisition. There is a place that they were showing me in where it was fishery in the survey. The survey, what the government has planned for that area is going to be fishery. There is another area that has been earmarked for years that they're now using currently for the cattle rearing. There's a cattle place. So government has some places that are, the blueprints for Fort Mainland Bridge has been on ground for years. All the places it will last, people have houses there. They will demolish houses for Fort Mainland Bridge. So it's important for you to understand what the precedence on ground is. That's number one. On another level is the fact that when we have conversations like this and thinking, like Mariam said, that the government will not work, always flip the other way. What if the government works? If I've already gotten notice that this place has issue, and you say, I have connection, what if your connection gets retired? Your connection dies, or something happens? What if the court throws out your case? What is your next plan? Because now you are thinking, I can bribe my way, I know people. There is nothing anybody can do to take me from this land. What is the people that you know?
You know many people planned with Jonathan's administration that, don't worry, Jonathan is coming back, don't worry, my people are still there. And then a new government came here, like, what happened? 360. So anything can happen. Let me take this call from Olayinka. Good morning, are you there?
Hello, madam.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, just want to make mention of two things. One, I'm happy when one of your people there said comparing the Magodo saga with this one, they are two different things. And I'm happy the other ladies here have corrected my sister there. Magodo is two families fighting over land. This, you are talking about Ajao Estate, you are talking about pipeline. Something that will go, boom, everybody's gone. And now we still be blaming the government. That they also have stopped them, they also have done this and that. That's number two. There's what they call land information in Lagos State. Before you buy land, it's simple, 15,000 naira or 20,000 naira, go to Ministry of Land. This land I want to buy, what is the status? Can I go ahead and build or not? No matter what another they want to go and bribe behind, you are wasting your time, you're wasting your resources, and it's something that you're just building the sorrow ahead of yourself, agony. So if you learn how to do the needful, that's just my own. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Alex. Let me talk about the Magodo for a second, just to be sure that we're on the same page. So you're right, it's absolutely different, but there's still a dispute, which can still go left or right. So right now, families had a land, government took it from them or bought it from them and decided to compensate them from this. The compensation didn't occur as they wanted. Things can happen. Years have passed, 20, 30 years can pass. But tomorrow, in the next 50 years, somebody can wake up and say, there's a document here now. And depending on who is in government. So imagine we have a new government, maybe a new party, a new friend come and say, no, give them this land because they rightfully deserve something. And it can happen. So the point is that as long as there's a dispute, either you plan to be on the safe side or just hope that the dispute doesn't work against your own favor. That's on one hand. Then secondly, would this demolition have been better if, as Nigerians are seeing the demolition, they're also seeing arrest of Lagos State officials that probably gave the approvals. So we're seeing that, it's not just a demolishing or handicapping Nigerian citizens, but the department that gave this person approval to build, the person in charge, whoever signed this document, is also being arrested simultaneously. When they see that, they can understand that, okay, corruption is being dealt with on all sides. Because sometimes we look as if only the people are getting the brunt of this. Then you know, people start reading meanings into it.
On all those.
There's somebody that's approved it.
So LSBCA, the spokesperson, the one we watched, said that for a lot of these buildings, they had no CFO, they had no documents. So that's one. So some of them did not have documents. And as I said, some people, you know, you have money, but you haven't taken the time to understand how the processes work. And so you get caught up with unscrupulous, you know, business people that can do that to you. And then when you say, if people see the officials being investigated and prosecuted, that would be fantastic in a real world. But I think all of us should be, you know, should have our self-interest first. It does not matter if anybody is prosecuted. The thing is that it's my building that is coming down. If they catch or they don't catch it, my building is coming down. So for your sake, just leave it. Don't even do anything, because nobody, if you like, get on TV and say, they're pulling down my building and I paid this particular government official and nothing happens to the official, but your building is going down. So it's just important to just be careful. And I understand what you mean by, you know, dispute, land in dispute, like you're explaining. Really, for some people, if a land is in dispute, whether it's pipeline or maybe just families arguing, there's some people, once they hear families are arguing, they don't even want to be involved, because we know they take years and years. Grandchildren will come and continue fighting this thing. So just for your peace of mind, you move away. Then I think it's important sometimes, I've seen this happen, maybe government has plans to use a particular piece of land or in maybe 50 years. And so is willing to let it out for 30 years. But the agents don't tell the person. They make it look like this is it. You know, they don't tell you that there's a limited amount of time that you can use it, after which it would revert to government. They don't do that. So that's why we need professional bodies. We need to be able to say, these people are part of this particular body and they have the right for me to have business dealings with them. Because in Nigeria, we know anybody can just get up today and before you know, you're selling and buying land for people and you have no idea how the process works.
Let's go to the points of social media, because I think it was Chimamanda that said that with the dangers of one-sided story, something like that in that regard, where social media paints one picture. Because when that video went viral, everybody went crazy. Like, what is it? They started again. This Lagos State government people have started, you know, regardless of what reasons they give, but it gives one perspective. So in your view, do you think the government responded in time, or they should have actually been the ones saying, we are demolishing, you know, because of this, or maybe they should have told us, giving us a heads up? You want people to start doing social media, because anything you do right now, you know that people will do social media and to go viral and to not work against their own interests as government. So should governments have waited for people to go viral, or come out and say, guys, so we're demolishing this thing tomorrow morning, you know, so that they themselves go viral themselves?
Regardless of if the government, if there was official video and this woman's video will still have gone viral.
Exactly.
Because people like sensational,
emotional.
We like emotional, we like that pity. That's what would push negative news price. If the government say we're demolishing this building and they do a video of how the demolition is going on, probably one or two people will share it and that's the end. Then the woman now comes and say, hey, they have destroyed my party. Of course, once again, I empathize with the person, everybody who's lost their properties in this demolition, but that woman so would go viral. So the onus must be on us. Then we're entering a new level of social media with AI. There will be deep fakes. You will see a video of your president saying something that you'll be wondering what's going on. He did not say it. So we're going to be getting even more and more of those kind of conflicting negative messages. So our responsibility as human beings is to use this thing between our two ears, our brains, to process information and investigate before we start forwarding. We're so quick to just pushing the narrative, pushing the video to someone else without asking any question. It's important that you don't be a tool for misinformation, but you let it stop with you. So I got those videos. I didn't forward the video. I waited until I got information and I informed the person that sent me the video. That should be your responsibility. Be responsible for whatever you're doing in the social media space. Yes.
Another message from the General Manager, Corporate Affairs, Federal Airport Authority, that's Faithful FAAN, from Faithful Hope Ibaze. She said, you may further inform the general public that all illegal occupants of the airport land should stop those already encroaching in Akure, Maiduguri, Kano, Port Harcourt, Sokoto will all be demolished. Because when anything that happens in Lagos goes viral. It's Lagos, so they've started though. But when demolition happens in some of these states, it doesn't really go viral. So they're also telling you ahead of time that they will be demolishing in this state. Those properties encroaching on the airport land should begin to move.
Yeah, so I also think because of this era of social media, the Minister of Education, Information, needs to be on point. We need a very young Minister of Information in the sense that these youngsters, these young people who disseminate this information are very fast with their phones and their hands and their fingers. So a minister who will be at par with them as they are putting up that, hold on now. Leave eight. It's not eight that will go and be discussing relationship on Instagram. No, please. Let me land my point. They need to be very on point and very fast. So as this information is landing, we're having a counter information to say this is not true. These and these and these are the reasons. We don't have to sleep all night, brood with that fake information till we get the next morning where the newspapers will now carry it. We need to be proactive. My problem with the government all across, whether it's federal government, state government, is that we are not really proactive. We wait and then we start reacting to certain issues. So now that they're advertising Kanu, Maiduguri, Sokoto, and where was the government of those states when these people have started building on those lands?
I think some agencies have actually improved. The police have really been hearing some agencies, we see them. So these guys have started. So like hiring young people.
So like with NDLEA, we know there's an NDLEA boss. He's not a young person by any chance. But there are aides out there who are doing the job. So I'm just trying to say that they work is an office of other people's teamwork. Even that one minister, no matter how young he is, cannot be everywhere. So he would definitely need. What I also want to say is that with social media, we all know how viral some videos can get.
What's up?
In 1 minute, you think you have put out a press, and then with the way government works, you want to send out your news through approved media houses and channels. You don't want it to just be a social media gist. So they would wait, they'll come on TV like this, put it in the newspaper. But people don't read papers, people don't watch the news. And if it's not exciting, even when you see if it's not exciting, you don't want to know until someone is screaming and crying and then calling it tribalism, then we're all excited about it.
Yeah. So I think, and this is a global problem, such as a Nigerian problem. Social media has been a problem where everybody, even government, are finding it hard to compete with the kind of fake news that goes on. We're not saying this woman's news is fake. It's actually real. It happened to her. We're just relating it to news that are sometimes not verified, that goes on before the official news comes out from either governments or any private bodies. But that's the impact of social media, and it's not just a Nigerian problem, it's across. Let's take a few comments on social media before we wrap up.
There are many. We have Emmanuel who says, are we going to... Okay, this person says, Emmanuel says, are we going to pretend we don't know government officials collected money from the developers after marking the illegal structures with X and then looked away for months and years while the construction goes on to completion? Now those officials will bring those X pictures as defense.
Wow.
He also says, while Lagos State authorities wield the big stick by demolishing illegal buildings, they should also wield the stick on the officials who stood by and watched these structures being developed from foundation to completion for years. It's not enough that they marked it with X.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mariam, because that's what I wanted us to focus a bit on.
Yeah.
The job, and I've always said on this table, the job of the local government, that's one of the major problems we have in this country, the inefficiencies of many local government, because that's a third arm, is a legitimate third arm of government. There shouldn't be any structure within your locality that is being raised that your people are not inspecting, observing, or noticing. So there's still corruption at every level. So even though, yes, government is wielding this stick or FAAN is requesting, however, somebody else must be culpable. Yes. Somebody within government at that local level. Who is the government? Who is the local government chairman? Who is the community elder? Who are the people within that vicinity that we're supposed to monitor at every point? The monitoring should have started at the foundational level, not when somebody has been living there for X amount of years. That's a problem. So there should be indictments shared across board, not just for the building owners.
Sure. A few more. So I also, a few more social media, let me do that.
Sam Banks, while you're looking for, Sam Banks says, if Faithful is correct, as he's talking to the FAAN spokesperson, is correct on the reason for demolition, which is security and safety, what provision do the governor make for owners of the building? Is there any compensation or provision for owners of the houses? So I feel like in this case, since it's not legal, they would.
Antnam says they've been told of the demolition from 2016, but they were still trying to find a way to stay there madness. Queen B says the large chunk of the blame goes to the government. Seriously, those buildings have no business coming up to completion stage. Nigeria, sorry for their loss, really. So much investment gone down the drain. Dania says, government that didn't take action since 2016, it will be difficult to take them serious, but they should sort solutions during that period.
T4 says, congratulations at TMO Space.
Antinam says they think they can bribe their way out. Do the right thing and stop being corrupt with your bribery. Honestly, we need to give that human face matter. We didn't answer the question because we didn't have the right
But we should call government.
the right people to right official to respond to it. There should have been there should have been time for people to take out their at least the little valuables they can, because the video of that woman said that she couldn't. She had documents in that house. So
do you think that will work?
Yes, it can work.
I don't think so. Nigerians, you hear that they're coming to demolish your house. You're already calling boys to come and deal with the officials. That's what we hear. We've seen that happen to NEPA officials. You're coming to cut lights and you mention it, and then boys are waiting for you there. They beat up, we've seen that sort of thing.
There's enough,
there's enough time.
I know demolition notices are meant to go out. I don't know how many months or weeks that you're giving, but I think it's usually like a 2-week notice to say that this is about to happen. So it's last week.
People should be said with dignity and respect. I think that's really what you're saying.
Get my passport, get my papers from the place.
It's always important for us to ensure that we respect people. People have invested in this. Yes, you're going to pull it down. The least you could have done is at least allow them to take out a few properties. Yes, you go with security of them, with the police, go with the security officials to protect the destroyers. No problem. But it's important. But it's just the same lack of respect.
The way we're talking about human face, I get you and I agree with you totally if we can do that. But also I feel that before we end it, let's also remember the reason why this demolition is taking place on pipelines. If there was an event, yes, if there ever was an explosion and anything happened to those people, nobody's going to blame the people. We're going to blame government.
Why didn't you demolish those buildings?
Exactly.
I can hear Mrs. voice. I can hear Mrs. voice. Why did they not demolish it? Why did they? I can hear your voice.
Why did they wait until explosion happened? So we have to.
All right, we have to wrap up, but I think we really addressed this matter. So there are various parts of this. As I said, blame can be taken around from the person that owns the building, the corporation that actually put this together, government, even the local and state government. Everybody has enough blame to go around. But either way, what is illegal is illegal. I feel our hearts go out to that woman and other families who are losing millions of naira. And we do hope that government at some point can give some kind of a compensation, at least from the federal government level, something, just to, to cushion the effects of this demolition. It's not easy. But the truth is that if we really want our country to move forward, we need to adhere and abide by the laws of the land so we don't get burnt in future. And once your house is marked, anything can happen. We never know. May God help us. It's marked, you. May God help us. So is that we are praying now?
No, that one is different. They've already settled there.
It's easy to say.
The governor has settled there. Yes, they've given them another land now.
What if but I hear they're refusing to take the land?
They are taking it.
Auntie, come to my side, you.
You never know. All right, that is all we can take on today's show. Hope you had a great day as we have. And again, happy Workers' Day to Nigerian workers across the country. May you continue to serve your fatherland and benefit from your service. After you've retired, you will pay your pension. So you pray for Nigeria.